Hello, School Transportation Nation. It's Tony Corcoran, publisher and president of School Transportation News. Glad you made it to the podcast. With me this week is Taylor Ekbatani, the TNT. We're back. Welcome, Taylor.
Hello. Yeah, we're back. It's been a while since TNT has thrown some dynamite on this podcast, but here we are, and it's great to be here, Nathan.
Yeah, we're going to be talking all things school transportation while Mr. Ryan Gray is moving his estate from Torrance up into the this is Sacramento area. So he's going to be moving north a bit. What's the town he's going to, Taylor?
Fresno area.
Fresno.
Yes.
All right, beautiful Fresno. So he'll be closer to Reno for STN EXPO. I guess that's nice.
Yeah, exactly. I know. I saw him in the office the other day, and I was like, we need to do that High School Musical song, like, what about us? Like, I feel like he's leaving me. He's abandoning poor little Taylor in the office.
That's all right. Ryan's still with us. He's just, we're living in the remote world, I guess, in school transportation newsland. You can be anywhere reporting on the nation. There's school transportation everywhere in the United States and Canada. So we can make our rounds. And you know what? Our sponsors make their rounds too, because this podcast is brought to you by TransFinder, the leader in school bus routing software, by Ride, real innovation delivered with excellence, and by School Radio, your source for reliable radio communications. In just a minute, Taylor's going to be talking with Christopher Faust, the transportation director for Sangamon Valley CUSD number 9 in Illinois, and former STN Rising Star. I don't know if you're former. You're always a rising star, right, Taylor?
I don't know. What if you rise so high, right? And then you become the transportation director of the year?
I mean, that's like the pinnacle, maybe. One isn't, you don't have to be a rising star to be a director of the year, but that's a nice correlation. I think people should apply, though, to be a rising star. I think that's coming up, right, in a future issue.
Yes. So nominations for Rising Stars will be opening soon, and they're going to be in our November issue this year. But yeah, definitely nominate yourself if you want. I don't care. Nominate your friends. Get a director to nominate you, a fellow coworker. But yeah, we're going to be collecting those soon. So definitely take advantage of it.
Speaking of big awards, Taylor, did you open up your July issue and see who's on the cover?
I did. You really can't miss his face, honestly.
He's everywhere, right? It's just like omnipresent. Our STN NSTA Innovator of the Year.
Drum roll.
Gaurav Sharda from Beacon Mobility. He's the Chief Technology Officer. You guys might have heard him. He was on the STN podcast. I did a video interview with him when we were out at ACT Expo in Anaheim back in like May. And we ambushed him and took a great photo of him and got some great interviews. And he was earmarked as the Innovator of the Year. He's a very interesting guy. He's got this HR background as a CTO. That's highly unusual. So he's got a very people-focused approach to technology. He's working on a mobile app with AI in it. I know AI is such a buzzword, but really, as you'll read in the article, there are an enormous amount of technology partners he's working with. I got to talk to a lot of these partners, and, frankly, got me really excited for the future of school transportation in the area of AI, Taylor. I was kind of thinking it was pie in the sky. And after seeing what Gaurav's cooking on over at Beacon Mobility, it was like kind of a wow moment, an aha moment. And they have this really intriguing mobile app called Beacon Buddy, which was crowdsourced by their team. Now, keep in mind, Beacon's got 12,000 vehicles and 18,000 employees. So it is a Goliath of a company, and that is really difficult to scale. I guess the quality of your performance across all of your locations in all of their states, and doing it using technology is really the way to go. And so he's really the tip of the spear I've seen from most private fleet contractors. It's really cutting edge stuff they're working on around employees and culture and communications. And they're looking at opportunities to reduce the amount of hours and data entry and, just the the quality of service and information, the speed of information that the staff can access with this technology is just, it's so intriguing to me. And there's a lot of other things in there that you guys can read about Gaurav and Beacon Mobility and what they're doing. But their president and CEO, Judith Crawford, had nominated Gaurav, and we started to go through the list of nominees. And man, he really stood out as someone that was innovative and different in the private fleet contractor segment. So definitely worth a read, Taylor. I know you were on this article. You interviewed Gaurav, and it is like a monster of an article. It's like 4,000 words. So
it is a beast.
Yeah, I know. So you want to give us a little background on what your take was, because this was new for you too.
Yeah, I think what stood out to me about Gaurav was that he was so people focused. And I think it's rare to find someone so involved, in technology, but not losing fact of the purpose of technology. And that was, what he was all about was, I'm creating technology to make the human life easier, but to also open up people to more people-to-people interactions. And that I just thought was really, important about him. That's why, I think we chose him for Innovator of the Year, just because he relied so heavily on that people aspect, which is probably, coming from his HR background. But I just wanted to pull out a quote that he said that I think just kind of embodies him and the article as well. He said, "You can build the fanciest of solutions, but if people are not going to use it, or it does not address any society problem, it's basically useless." And I think that truly speaks to what he's trying to accomplish. He worked on Beacon Connect, which is a fully integrated communications platform designed for school transportation, right? This has vehicle tracking. It gives family access into the ride. It's looking at onboard video recordings, allowing drivers to communicate with dispatch. It's all of these different areas put into one Beacon Connect, one platform that can be accessed at all different levels. And I think that, in talking with his different coworkers, that was something that he prioritized, was pulling different aspects and making them easier to use, easier to access in one location. I was talking with David Duke, who works with Gaurav, and kind of getting a little bit more flavor on Gaurav. And he said that he has a foot in today and a foot in, tomorrow. And I think that's another, kind of important quote to pull out, because it shows the kind of person that he is. He's thinking about today, but he's always looking toward, the future and how to make lives easier for their customers.
Yeah, just an intriguing choice. Gaurav's going to be recognized at STN EXPO as well as NSTA out in Boston, and then additionally at Beacon Mobility's leadership event in Boston too. So July is going to be a busy month for Gaurav receiving this award and, recognizing him. So I think him and his wife are coming out to Reno July 11th through the 16th to really enjoy the conference. I think he hasn't been before, so it's first time at STN EXPO. So he'll get to enjoy. I know he's sitting on a panel with me talking about the future of technology and AI. So got a really great panel of experts, and having the Innovator of the Year is a great one as well. So we're really excited to have that session featured at STN EXPO on Monday afternoon. And want to invite you all, if you're going to STN EXPO, to jump into that session with me, and we can learn a little more about what Gaurav's up to, as well as our expert panel. But before we get to more, we got a quick break. Hey, safety is a number one priority for everyone in school transportation, and even more so when needing to communicate in a school bus setting. School radios, push-to-talk over cellular or POC radios, are the safety enhancement you need to provide clear communication across all aspects of your fleet. Schools, SROs, that's school resource officers, and beyond. School radio helps take safety and connectivity a step further by offering interoperability solutions that bridge conventional two-way radios with POC systems, creating a unified network that boosts effectiveness and safety. This integrated strategy guarantees smooth communication in both emergency situations and daily activities. To learn more about how school radio can improve safety in your communication methods, visit school-radio.com. That's school-radio.com. All right, we're back, Taylor. So let's touch on some other top things going on at STN Expo, since that is literally like a week away. The bags are, I was gonna say the bags are packed, but we're like last second packers. So like the day before, or like hours before the flight, we're like stuffing things in our, I have to pack more than you. I don't know, Taylor. I got like suits. I got my slacks. I got to get dialed in for the show.
I have shoes.
There's so many
Okay.
networking events, the keynotes. I'm on stage making announcements, panels. I mean, I got a busy itinerary of things going on. I know you do too, because, you were highlighted on social media a lot as a speaker.
I know.
I think, you're a big deal, Taylor.
I'm just saying the people spoke, okay, and I will be facilitating another session in Reno. So all to my fans, thank you so much for believing in me. I will see you at the Wi-Fi session in Reno. We're going to have to put it all over social, so just stay tuned. But yeah, I'm working on it, Tony. I got the different outfits. When I was at the National Congress on School Transportation, they were talking to me and they were like, what are you wearing to the Magic Night? Because that is going to be killer.
It's a great question, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, dress to impress that night. That's always the night people get dressed up. And I think most trade shows, you don't see people getting dressed up anymore. We really have kind of elevated, I think, the evening experience. And I love people getting pumped and excited to be there and looking their best at the show.
Yeah, I know. I have to think about, like, do I need to pull a rabbit out of my hat? I need to freshen up on my card tricks.
We got magicians for that. There's going to be magical acts roving the floor, Taylor. So you can just experience the experts and let them do it. You don't have to learn a coin trick on YouTube. Maybe you could.
We'll see.
And I always say, school transportation professionals, they're doing magic every day. It's not magic when you're doing school transportation, but it feels like it sometimes. And I think our keynote address, John Pett's, it's the significance of simple moments and really identifying those amazing moments that your team has done all day long. And how do you replicate that? How do you capture that amazement and really identify it and share it with other people in your organization? And Bluebird's sponsoring that keynote, and we're really glad to have them be a part of that. And their CEO, John Weiskell, is going to be introducing him and really diving deep into what Bluebird's up to. So it'll be interesting to see. But John is going to provide a great keynote. He's also the leader of the Transportation Director Summit up in day 2 in Lake Tahoe, where he's going to dive a little deeper into all our leadership-based training to give all our directors a great experience. We have over 100 transportation directors, 25 sponsor partners, which we match up. It's a great opportunity. On Friday, I dive deep a little more on the challenges and solutions and do a little more crowdsourcing conversations. So it's just a packed agenda of great things, July 11th through the 16th. Guys, if you haven't signed up, stnexpo.com/west, you still have the opportunity to join us. You need a room, you got to email us because I think the hotel block is locked. It's almost sold out. If it's not, it's like right on the edge. So make sure and check in with us. Taylor, what are you looking for? What's Taylor's recommendations for STN Expo? What are your, give you your top 3 session highlights? What do you got, Taylor?
Dude, you're going to put me on the spot right now. Okay, let's see. Okay, well, you can't miss the keynote. You already said that, but honestly, that's a go-to, must attend. I think always our keynotes leave me feeling so inspired about, not only me as a person, but professionally. So you can't miss the keynote. That is number 1.
Which
for
one?
me.
There's 3 keynotes. You gotta which one is it? Is it the one with John? Is it the one Charles Crete, CEO of Zonar? Is it, who's it gonna be? You got to pick favorites. I mean, that was kind of a layup. The keynote. It's so ambiguous, Taylor. You gotta commit to something, right?
Okay.
Jim Schiffler. I mean, maybe Jim on Tuesday. Can't forget about the Tuesday keynote either. So it's like emerging leaders. That's always a good one too.
Stressing me out, Tony. You're stressing me out. Honestly,
too many good choices. I apologize. Blame Ryan Gray. He always comes up with these great educational additional classes and training.
That's what I'm saying. And there's 3 happening at one time too sometimes. So even having to choose between those 3 is a challenge. So honestly, the directors that go to these, I give you guys props because I just get told which one I need to go into, right? Based on reporting. I couldn't imagine having to choose. And that's why you have to bring multiple people. Divide and conquer. Everyone go to a different session so that you can take back all this knowledge, because I wish I could split myself into multiples so I can learn more too.
Guys, I think Taylor's like waffling here. She didn't commit to anything. She was like, yeah, just go to all the sessions. I mean, yeah, you can, right?
Okay, Wi-Fi. Go to Wi-Fi.
Oh,
come see me.
Okay. Well, Wi-Fi is interesting. Obviously, E-rate is a big topic of conversation. It's been hot and cold for people, right? So some people commit to Wi-Fi, some people don't. E-rate is given access to funding or reimbursement, as they say, but there's rules you got to play with. Schools have been enjoying that. You know, school bus is an extension of the classroom. We talk about it all the time, but here it is, right? This is where the rubber meets the road. Is the funding going to be maintained? There's all this kind of controversy around the FCC. Mm-hmm. Are they going to walk this back? Not yet.
I checked.
Hasn't happened yet.
It hasn't. Yeah, it hasn't been voted on yet. So we'll see if there's going to be a decision before we know.
I hope not. I hope they keep it, right? I think it's good for the students. Obviously, this is a monetary tug of war, political tug of war, which, you know, we stay away from, but we're just going to report the news, tell you guys what's happening. How does this impact you? How do you prepare for the future? Look towards that new school year, 25-26. I mean, some of you start in August, September. I feel like someone said July. I was like, seriously, school starts in July? When is that? So I feel like school starts earlier and earlier, Taylor. Maybe it's like there's more days off, more in-service days, more vacation days. People come up with like a vacation week. It's a constant process, right?
Yeah, exactly. But we're on summer now, so hopefully, you know, transportation directors are able to relax a little bit and you know, prepare for the months ahead. But I have one, Tony. I've been thinking, and
you're holding out on us.
I'm ready. Top transportation teams. That is one.
Ooh.
Yes, that is a lunch and learn by TransFinder. They scour, they do surveys, they find the top transportation teams out there, and they ask them some hard-hitting questions on how they empower culture in their department, how they, you know, tackle the driver shortage, how they embrace technology, all these different aspects. And in one packed lunch, all these, you know, leaders essentially are sitting up on this stage ready for your question. So I think that is one that I must attend. I love attending.
I think that's our 3rd year doing it. I know Antonio Sabatella, president and CEO, came to me some years ago and said he had this vision. And I guarantee you, he never thought it was going to turn into this, but it has got a life of its own. We got featured directors. There's, I believe, 5 directors and 1 private fleet contractor. So 6 total awards that are given. And then there's like the best of the best. I think TransFinder released the winners too, right? We've got a preview of whose that is. Taylor, you want to run down who the selects are?
Yes, I do. So in the 100 plus category, it's Hoover City Schools in Alabama, Prosper ISD in Texas, and Goddard Public Schools in Kansas. So those are for the 100 plus. And I don't believe they did a contractor this year, because now I'm looking at the winners in the under 100, and we have Pembroke Central School District in New York, Wani Community Schools in Indiana, and Franklin Square Union Free School District in New York as well. So 6 school district winners.
Okay. No honorable mention for a contractor? I feel like that was their Palmer bus, I think, took it home last year for them.
You know, Tony, I don't believe so. Let me confirm. Yeah, no contractor shout out, at least according to the press release I have. Maybe they have a something special up their sleeve in Reno, but
I'm checking with TransFinder. I'm just double checking. No, we're not missing anyone. Everybody is mentioned. So we'll see if we get a live update while we're on the podcast. You never know, Taylor. It could happen.
It could happen.
But yeah, okay. So six district winners. We'll see if a private contractor threw their hat in the ring. But yeah, I mean, it's difficult, right? So you apply for this top transportation teams, and then you supply the email addresses of all your team members who then give a blind response of what they think of you and your organization as a leader. And it's the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I think you when you open yourself up to something like this, constructive criticism, looking internally, if you're doing a good job. I saw some names, or I heard some names of districts of folks we know. Terry down at Prosper ISD, she's a good friend. Obviously, we've got the TSD conference down in the Frisco area, and Prosper's kind of an adjoining city, so we know her really well. And Wani, that's Amy Rosa. It sounds like that one as well. We know her from Indiana when we had STN Expo East out in Indianapolis. She was a big supporter of ours, and we really enjoy working with her. And there's a bunch of others in there that I heard as well. So it's great to expose everybody to these leaders, and there's varying fleet sizes. So everybody's got different fleets, different challenges, different geography. And I remember these panels before. It was really insightful, some of the comments and conversations. And I believe Antonio Civitella will be the moderator of that panel discussion at STN Expo on Monday for that lunch and learn. So really, really great select, Taylor, for a top session you should put on your agenda for STN Expo West. It's a great one.
Yeah, and Wani won last year, while Pembroke CSD won in 2023. So we have some repeat winners, which
returns. Nice.
Yeah, we got to crack open that egg and see what all their secrets are. Because if they're winning top transportation teams twice, I don't know. They got some secret sauce.
There's some magic there. Hey, magic. I feel like there's some connection to STN Expo. Maybe if you go to STN Expo, you too could be a top transportation teams. The magic is there, Taylor.
What is that song? Like, you got the magic in me.
It's true.
It's going to be going through Reno.
Right. You gotta have some sound effects. So Taylor, a lot of times I'm in my car driving and I kind of lose sight of how fast I'm going. Sometimes you look down at your speed and you're like, ooh, just, 20 miles over the limit, better rein it in. But in New York, there seems to be some controversy around speed limiters and speeding of vehicles, right? Is that what's going on out in New York? What's happening?
So I've just been turned on to speed limiters, and I didn't really know these things existed beforehand, but there was a pilot program in DC that put 10 of these speed limiters on school buses, and basically they don't allow the driver to go above whatever the speed limit is posted on the street. So using like GPS data, that kind of thing, which I find very interesting. And as I was doing my research, there was a similar project that was done in New York City, as you mentioned, with 50 school buses putting these devices. And it's actually helping, lower crash, like it's helping with crash data. And it's just very interesting because what seems like such a minor technology, right, is making a big impact. So I'm looking into this a little bit more for an article. So stay tuned. If it's not out yet, it will be out shortly by the time you listeners hear this. But kind of just diving in on this technology. It's intelligent speed assistance. So they're ISA devices, and they're going on school buses. And I guess it's not a new thing. I've just recently heard about it, but limiting the speed. I mean, you get carried away. We all get carried away. You're driving and you don't realize how fast that you're going. But I think this is an interesting technology that I've just recently learned about.
Yeah, there was another company called MagTech. Gary Catapano, who used to be the head of fleet safety for First Student, went to work for them, and a father-son combination, Robert Morissette, and his son had this company. They're up in Canada, and I had seen it, and I thought, wow, this has got great potential in school transportation for really kind of setting the limit of speed. And obviously, you can set parameters if a vehicle is going, 10 miles an hour over or 5 miles an hour over. Also, if a vehicle is stolen, you can effectively stop it in its tracks or make it move at a very slow rate. Because again, the fear is you don't want to completely deaden the vehicle, because what if it's on train tracks, or there's also other considerations. But there's a lot of safety ramifications with a technology like this. So it's interesting to me that New York is looking at this, and I always thought there was a real big safety component to this, because I'm sure there's a lot of data with insurance of people that speed and the rate of accidents versus people that don't speed. And the percentage of accidents probably decreases significantly because of this. I know Jeff Castle, the president at School Bus Safety Company, again, coming from the risk management side and safety side, he's always discussed with me about unsafe behaviors and norms. And there lies speeding as an unsafe behavior, where you have technology effectively monitoring, measuring, limiting speed, since that seems to probably one of the more egregious behaviors that could occur more regularly. So I'm always curious. Training comes back to it, Taylor, but these are all interesting elements when you're talking about safety in school buses.
Yeah, I was talking to Gary for the article, and you touched on the security aspect. But if, someone enters the bus that's not supposed to be on the bus, or hijacks the bus, right, for some reason, they can go into the school bus using this system and stop the vehicle or pull the bus over, essentially, and alert law enforcement to meet the bus at a certain point. So I think that's huge. Gary also mentioned that with the speed limiters, you're getting, better fuel mileage. You're seeing less wear and tear on, brakes or tires because of the constant speed, not, this stopping, going kind of thing. So that's another aspect. And we're also looking at that for the August issue, fuel and parts and brakes and that kind of thing. So, but just very interesting technology.
When originally I had talked to Gary, I think some years ago, there was a pilot in Illinois they had done where they installed it, but they didn't turn it on. And they saw how many people were speeding. Like, you can visually see how many buses in the pilot were speeding. And then when they flipped them on, you could see a 90% drop, or like it was a significant drop, because now the drivers know that this limiter is there. So they actually changed their driving behaviors as a result of the limiters. So it really influenced driver behavior significantly, which is really intriguing, right? They don't do it unless they know it's there and it's actively working. So I think in reality, as a transportation director, you're like, oh, of course my drivers don't speed. But in the back of your mind, you're like, do you really know? Are you really measuring that? Now, granted, telematics solutions, if you have Zonar or Geotab or Samsara, or whatever you're using to measure the telemetry of the bus, you may have some measure of how fast the buses are going. And that's the conflict too, because you're trying to address on-time percentage. You're trying to get back on schedule. So if someone's running late, do they speed to try to make up the time because they're worried about being late or not on time because they're penalized or something like that? So they're almost incentivized to speed because of these kind of other things of trying to be on time, even if there's a delay. So that's a real kind of social question, is what is more important, the speed and on time percentage, or to be safe when driving, right? And I would venture being safe is probably a better choice.
I would agree.
But the reality is that's true, right, Taylor? I mean, people will speed if you're like, I got to be there at 10 o'clock and I got to drive faster. Now, the perception is if I speed, I'm going to get there faster. I don't know about you, but when you're driving somewhere and you speed, like, what are you there 2 minutes earlier, 3 minutes earlier? I mean, when you see, like, if you're like on Waze or something and you're like, oh, I'm going to get there at 10 o'clock. And then it's like, oh, I'm going to get there at 10:05. Now, if you're sitting in traffic at a dead standstill, okay, you're going to see the time start to expand out. But it's very interesting how behavior is dictated by the situation.
Yeah, and like you said, how behavior is dictated by technology, and that we're looking at that for future issues too, with video cameras, how much of that facing the driver now is behavior related, right? The driver knows that they're being watched. So I think there's a lot of elements coming to school transportation, that's been in it, but now kind of like evolving, that it's just, we're going to keep an eye on, keep a pulse on, and continue to report back to you guys.
All right, Taylor, we're going to get to your interview right after this. Hey guys, the safest family of electric school buses just got bigger. Meet the creator, the all-new Type C bus from Ride, with seating for up to 72 students and a range of over 170 miles on a single charge. The creator joins the Achiever and Dreamer to form the most advanced lineup of electric school buses on the road. Visit ride.co to discover the future of student transportation. Ride. They're changing the way kids get to school.
Hello, nation. Taylor Ekbatani. I have a 2025 Rising Star with us, so very exciting. Welcome to the podcast stage, Christopher Faust. He's the Transportation Director for Sangamon Valley CUSD number 9 in Illinois. So welcome, Chris.
Thank you for having me. It's a real privilege to be on this podcast and be with you guys this afternoon.
It's a privilege to be speaking to a rising star. So, Chris, when you were awarded the award, you're with Sheboygan Area School District, and we were talking offline. So that was a move from Wisconsin to Illinois. What kind of transpired there? How was that move?
The move, it's moving my family. I have some kids and my wife and young kids. It was that from that aspect was very difficult. Work-wise, I fell right into this job and we hit the ground running. I knew the expectations that needed to be met. I knew what the district was looking for, what the board goals were. Superintendent and I were on the same page, and we just hit the ground running, and they were trying to build a top transportation team going forward. They went through a little bit of a rough patch the last couple of years, and we have some big goals, and we're going to keep working towards meeting those.
So what have some highlights been, Chris, for you as like a new director, coming to this district? Anything kind of stand out?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind roller coaster, no pun intended with the whirlwind part. We've had a bunch of series of different events that have taken place. The first one was we got a really bad windstorm. We had like 50 plus mile an hour winds. And I have a really old transportation facility. It was built in the 80s. It was never meant to be a transportation facility. It was more of a maintenance storage shed that got converted over the years. And so we had a really bad windstorm one day. And all afternoon, the building was kind of shaking and moving, and just like, oh man, that's weird. And so we went out on afternoon routes. I was driving a route that day. I was filling in, and we get back from afternoon routes, and we see the building starting to lift up, and the wind is just, you can hear the wind like howling as it's slamming against the building, and all of a sudden it picks up the building, and you can see it go flying out into the cornfield. And we're scrambling because we're worried that, because the building, of course, had active power lines to it, and we're worried that they snapped when the wind pulled it. So we were worried the building was going to get caught on fire. So we're scrambling, trying to move all the buses away from the facility, and this wind that you can't even walk in. It's just pushing against you as you're walking.
Oh my gosh.
And it was a mad scramble. It was a crazy day.
Okay, but what do you do when your facility blows away? Did you go get it, or are you building a new one?
We are. So I got housed in the high school for a little bit while the whole cleanup went down, and we moved the buses to an auxiliary parking lot. We kind of made that work for about a week, and then we had spring break, so that helped to give us some extra time. And then we've been working on getting plans drawn. They made the building safe again. We're still missing half of it, but I've been able to go back in and work out of it for the remainder of the school year. And then right now we're currently working on getting the bids going and getting a new facility built. The board approved them to spend the funds to get a new facility for me. So I'm actually really excited about that.
That's exciting.
We're hoping that in the next couple of weeks they're going to break ground, and the contractor is pretty confident they can have it up within a month or two. So it's not It's not a huge building, but hey, it's going to be brand new.
I'm sorry it took your building actually blowing away for you to get a new one, but
hey, it works for me.
Yeah.
And then not shortly long after that, we actually had another incident, but it was actually a full-fledged tornado. It started out as a tornado watch all day. And then we ended up finishing the school day, got all the kids on the buses. We started running routes, and already most of them were like 15, 20 minutes into them at that point. And we just had a couple that were just like starting to get underway. And that's when they switched from a tornado watch to a tornado warning. And there was actually a reported sighting heading our way. So I had to radio all the buses to head to the nearest school. We had to shelter in place. And then we actually, from the high school, we had several buses at the high school. We unloaded all the kids. They were huddled in the hallways. And it was a little bit of a panic. Everybody was a little scared. And we could see the tornado funnel cloud coming towards us. It was crazy.
Oh my God. Well, that's had to be different for you, right? That crisis preparation or planning, because I don't know, but I don't think you got tornadoes in Wisconsin.
We did from time to time,
okay.
but nothing like I never actually. It was always like watches, like they never actually transpired. And they're like, I mean, like more rural places. I got them like up north and up more west got them in Wisconsin, but like not where we lived right on Lake Michigan, right on the east side of the state. And that wasn't, we occasionally got a watch from time to time, but not an actual like full blown tornado. Since I've been here, it was like, it's been weekly for like the last month and a half. We've been under tornado watch after tornado watch. And
oh my gosh.
I don't know how many times I've had to take my family down to the basement like midnight when there's a tornado warning and near you like 20 minutes away. And we're in the basement. It's been from that. It's crazy. And then actually like having buses out when that's all going down, it was a little scary and a little different.
Yeah.
You know, especially coming from more of an administrative side and then getting into the operations, trying to deal with all those things in the moment and making decisions about what's right and for how are you going to be safe and be proactive. And you could use some more training on that.
Yeah.
Because it's like, how do you prepare for all these different things?
That's kind of what I'm wondering. Like when you came in, was there already a, tornado plan in place or?
Well, the schools have them,
Okay.
That conversation never really came up like on the bus.
Right. So like what you guys took them back, you said, to the high school?
I radioed all the bus drivers that were out and said, go to your nearest school.
Okay.
And shelter in place with the students.
Yeah, that would be like you're literally making decisions on the fly.
Yeah, it was a crazy day.
Oh my! Well, a memorable first year for you, Chris.
It has been. There's no question. But I made some great memories. Have had fantastic partners. I've never been part of a district before where you see everybody step in. And get involved. I mean, I've had the principal of the high school driving a bus for me before, during the school year.
That's awesome.
It's the amount of love and support I get for transportation is amazing. And I'm so blessed and honored to be in the school district that I am, because I couldn't ask for a better situation.
That's beautiful. I love that for you. And I know you have some pictures and some videos of that tornado or kind of random experience where your bus facility blew away. So you'll have to send them to us. We'll put them on socials, or I'll see them in Reno.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely could do that.
Yeah, I know, one of your big goals at Sheboygan was technology adoption. And is that something that you're still kind of focused on?
Absolutely. We're in a rural district, smaller. So, we have to be a little bit more conservative with our funds, our allocations for what we're going to spend on. We have to determine what our needs are and go from there when it comes to technology spending. We did make a change already to our routing software, but we adopted with TransFinder, which is what I was using in Sheboygan. I love using their software. Route Finder Plus it's an amazing routing software, and they've been a great partner to work with. And we're looking at other of their products, specifically Stop Finder, in the coming year as a way to be able to enhance our communication with parents. That's kind of where our focus is right now on that. It's so weird because it's like we adopted all these things in Sheboygan, got these programs up. We had driver tablets, GPS, bus Wi-Fi, and then I moved to a district that really didn't have much in the way of technology. And I feel like I'm just starting this whole process over again and trying to rebuild this all, because I really feel that a lot of these technologies have their place and they're important. You may not need, every district may not need everything, but you got to figure out what works and what your needs are for your district and really push for those because they have a place and there's a reason why there's all these products available.
Yeah. And you've done it once, so you can do it again. You have that knowledge to lean on. I think that will help you.
Right.
Okay. So Wi-Fi, you mentioned,
Yep.
Is that something that you also want to bring to Sangamon? Or I know E-rate's kind of up in the air.
Yeah. I mean, if E-rate funding wasn't up in the air and they had a secondary round of it, I would definitely try to go through the process. We do have E-rate for other products within our school district. So I don't think that would be such a far reach for us to try to add that if that is an option still down the road. But at the moment, no, that isn't something that we're actively considering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're waiting to see what happens with the Supreme Court. So
absolutely. I hope that they keep it because I think it's definitely needed. Transportation departments can have great use of that, as well as what the focus is for the students to be able to have an extension of the classroom, be able to continue using their Chromebooks, their iPads to be able to do that homework, get into that coursework where they may not have that need at home, or be able to have those, that internet access at home, or even for all those students that are participating in extracurriculars, that all that extra time they spend on a bus. No longer they can excuse, well, I had to ride a 2-hour bus ride to get to some town in the middle of nowhere to play this team, where, you can't use that excuse the next day.
Right. It makes it an extension of the classroom. And I think,
Absolutely.
Everyone in the industry is advocating hard, to have it continue through the Universal Services Fund. So we'll see. But, talking about you and your background, how did you get into pupil transportation?
Well, I actually started in public transit. So I was employed with the city of Sheboygan Public Transit as a dispatcher and fill-in supervisor. And I did that for a while. And a opportunity with the Sheboygan Area School District came available in their student transportation. And I took a stab at it and I was offered the job and I fell in love with student transportation. I did enjoy my time with public transit, but I would not go back. I'm definitely on the student transportation side now, 100%, especially being in a district that is passionate about transportation, advocates for the transportation, and really just the partners that I've seen being in this district, and being in a smaller community, that you really see that the community rally behind the school district, and it's a completely different vibe than where I came from.
Because when we were talking, when you're at Sheboygan, it was a big focus. You guys were partnered with the public transit, and I know a lot of your students use that.
Yeah, absolutely. That was an additional service that we provided for the Sheboygan Area School District provided to students that weren't eligible for transportation as a way to help them get to and from school. The other half of this, the student transportation side, came from the contractor that they partnered with. My role in that job in that district was to be a middleman. I was the liaison between the school district administration and the contractor, and then of course any other transportation related conversation that came up I was involved in, and really just trying to manage all those relationships and trying to figure out how we push transportation forward for that district. And that was a tough role, but it really taught me a lot about transportation, and it really gave me that unique aspect from working with a contractor and knowing that one day that, well, here I am now, but knowing one day that I wanted to be in a district that ran their own buses, and that I was going to be able to be the director and be able to lead the change from the top.
Yeah. Talk about that, transition a little bit. So now you guys you're in-house, you're running everything, your hands are in all the cookie jars.
I'm tired. I won't lie. I've been doing this a year and I am tired. I'm making up for it a little bit now with summer break. We don't, as a smaller district, we don't really have summer school. We do have to transport a few students out to some alternative programs that we run routes for. But now I'm taking my vacation time because really that was one of the things, not that I couldn't take time off during the school year. It was kind of the expectation that, as the leader, as the one who's really involved in everything, we need you there when school's goggles on. And
Right.
I even felt like I had to be a lot of times. Like when I was sick, it was like, if I'm not going to be there, I mean, we were short drivers in the beginning. I was driving a route every day, and so much has changed since then. So, I mean, we're going in the right direction, but I'm tired. I won't lie. And I'm almost not looking forward to the school year starting again, just because I'm like, oh man, back to 10, 12-hour days.
So you guys, you said you don't do much summer school operations, so your buses aren't moving?
I have 2 routes right now, and the one ended today, actually. So I'm down to 1 route, which ends in 3 weeks.
Gotcha.
So, and then we'll have nothing until school starts.
So when school starts, what do you guys run?
10 routes.
Okay. So not too bad.
So again, small district.
Yeah.
Our enrollment is right around 600, and we transport about 350 to 400 students. So majority of the district is transported.
Okay. And are you fully staffed now?
Yeah, I am.
Wow. Okay.
Today was like I mentioned earlier, I took a driver to the DMV for his road test. That was our 4th driver in 6 months that we've added to the team.
Wow.
So we're going in the right direction. I'm
That's
fully
awesome.
staffed. I'm actually, knock on wood, I'm 1 up for the school year. So I'm actually over, not even including myself. So we're 1 over.
That's awesome.
So I'm really pleased about that.
Did you up your advertising efforts, or what did you kind of do when you came in to be the director?
Honestly, I didn't do much. It was initially, like I said, I was short-staffed. I was filling in. I was driving a route every day. It was really just word of mouth that a new transportation director was in town. The climate, the culture is changing. So we had some people that started the process earlier and they didn't finish for different reasons. And so then they came back when they heard that there was a new leader basically there. And I was able to get them through the process, and now they're here and they're driving for us. So again, it's like I said, we're just moving in the right direction, and we're trying to build a top transportation team.
Yeah. Culture is definitely important. And you mentioned top transportation teams. There's a session on that in Reno.
Disappointed didn't win, but
I don't know if you're planning on attending.
I absolutely will. I got to support the winners. I definitely entered our team into that, but we still have some room, some growth opportunity. I think even the winners do. There's always areas that anyone can improve in, but we're going to keep pushing forward because that's really one of my goals.
Okay. Oh, so you guys applied and
we did.
Yep. All right. Well, you got to see, what stood those winners apart.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what the results. I mean, we'll get the survey results, and we're definitely going to use those to see maybe an area that we could do better in. I mean, obviously, there must be an area that we can do better in. So we're going to definitely use that to target that in the coming school year.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's super important, and that's good on you, a new director coming in, entering yourself into this, really transparent kind of process. So
Absolutely.
Being able to take that, feedback, I think that's huge.
Yeah, I told everybody from day one when I started there, it's going to be different. And we're either you can get on board or get out.
Well, hey. It sounds like it's working for you.
So, fortunately, mostly nobody left.
So you mentioned you're in summer school, or you're in summer vacation mode right now. What are some things that you're looking forward to at the start of the school year? You guys are you said you're getting TransFinder, right? The route finder?
I was able to implement that a few months ago.
Okay.
So we've been using that to get fully implemented through last school year, and now I'm working on building routes, just kind of waiting for registration to happen for our district so I can confirm data and really be set for the school year.
Okay. Any other projects as you start the school year?
Well, one area that was an area that I really was not pleased with was how we were communicating with parents. Our district was kind of in I would say the older mindset mentality of pick up the phone, we're going to call everybody. So there wasn't really a transportation page on the district website, no information on how to get in contact with me, and really how things worked, and what are the rules of transportation, what are parents' expectations. So for the last couple months, I've been working on building a website with our person in our district to really get some information out to parents. And then, of course, partnering with TransFinder, being able to get our routes built that we can start emailing our parents directly from the routing software, which I think is a huge time saver for us. And it really is going to push us in the right direction in terms of enhancing communication with parents.
Mm-hmm. Well, Chris, let's continue this conversation right after this ad.
Hey guys, what do software, hardware, and safety have in common? One word: TransFinder. At the STN EXPO in Reno, TransFinder won 3 Innovation Choice Awards voted on by STN EXPO attendees for best software, best hardware, best safety technology. TransFinder's Route Finder plus routing solution and apps, Stop Finder and Wayfinder, are well known in the industry. Not everyone realizes TransFinder provides hardware like card readers, tablets, and mounts. And as for safety, Patrol Finder for schools is TransFinder's latest solution designed to make buses and campuses safer. TransFinder's president and CEO, Antonio Civitella, said the recognition means so much because it's voted on by STN EXPO attendees. Civitella said, "We know a lot is riding on TransFinder because a lot is riding on those yellow buses that travel through our communities. TransFinder must continue to innovate as more is being expected of transportation departments from district leadership as well as parents." Learn more at transfinder.com. That's transfinder.com.
Okay, so you mentioned that you're still, in the infancy stages of adopting some new technology for the district. But if you had a button that you could just press, right? What technology do you want, or would you want right now, right away? Like, what's your go-to?
I would want driver tablets.
Okay.
A lot of times drivers they call in sick and we have to have a sub driver thrown in. And if they haven't been, even the ones that have been doing this a while, I've seen a driver tablet firsthand, implementing that in my old district. It works. It makes it so much easier. You feel so much more confident behind the wheel. And I feel like sometimes I get the reservation when I call and I say, I hit up like our maintenance director. He also has this CDL. He helps me out quite a bit. And I was like, hey, I need you to fill in for this route today. And he's like, which route is it? And, so like that, we wouldn't have that awkward conversation. It'd be more like, yeah, sure, no problem. Cause they're going to know who they are, where they're going, what students. And that's always the biggest concern for those subs. They tell me all the time, when has I let the wrong kid out at the wrong place? I feel like I'm responsible for that, especially if it's a younger kid. It's like, I don't know these parents. I don't know, I don't know these kids, their names. And I get that. As someone, who got thrown in to a route this year, you do feel that. And you want to make sure everyone's safe. And you do have a responsibility for that. So like some of these technologies out there can really, they're a game changer.
Mm-hmm. Almost like taking away some of that liability off the driver.
Absolutely.
So, and even, I don't know if with the tablets, that scanning the RFID card aspect of it.
That's definitely a cool tech that they have out there.
Yeah. I know. I wish everyone could just have it all, right?
Right. Another aspect that I would love if I could press some easy button would be GPS. I would love to know where my buses are, and that's something we had in our old district. And I wish I had it right now, but it's something that I think down the road we're going to look into, especially with when our lease is up. We lease our buses, so we're definitely going to look at what our needs are and see where we're going to allocate our funds towards.
Okay. So you have some stuff down the pipeline.
Yep.
Okay,
so I got 2 more years with the current buses we have, and then we're going to turn them in, and we're gonna look at some options.
That's interesting. So with leasing, is it kind of like the same thing like leasing a car? You're always going to get kind of the newest, the best?
So you can, if you stay with your lease provider, you have the option of either buying out the buses that you have, or you can trade them in for the latest, greatest, or you can leave that vendor and go with a different one.
Okay.
So again, that's something we'll go out for bid and see, find out what exactly our needs are. We learned some stuff with this bid process that we went through with the current lease of what we want, what we need, how many buses we got, and really make sure that we're ordering what we need for our district and we're spending the money correctly. And then from there, make the decisions on what technology we want to add in at that time when we're getting those buses.
Okay. That's interesting.
So, and a little bit different approach, one different than where I came from, but this is how they've been doing it, and it's been working for them, especially with not having a mechanic background. We have a service contract provided with our lease, so I manage that portion of it, but I don't actually do the work because I'm not a mechanic, and we don't have an in-house one, so that really helps with that.
Okay, so if you need repairs, you contact your vendor, and they'll send someone out.
Yeah. So if there's like a breakdown or something, we'll put in a work order. They'll send someone out pretty much weekly. He comes out, whether he has something or not, just to kind of check in on things. But then they have periodic maintenance that they come out for, oil changes, that kind of stuff. And they do that about twice a year.
Okay. Different.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a new thing for me learning all this stuff when I came into this district.
School transportation is always evolving. There's so many different aspects of it.
Absolutely. And again, I think it all comes down to what the district needs are and how they want to basically spend their money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. So speaking of summer vacation, you're going to be spending a week at the Peppermill.
Yep.
And we glanced on it a little earlier with the top teams lunch and learn that's going to be happening. But with the Rising Star, you got to go to one of the conferences this year.
Yep.
What kind of leaned you in the direction of STN EXPO West?
I've heard amazing things about STN West. So I've gotten to go to STN East a few times, and speaking to other people, they said if you get an opportunity to go again, go to the West one. That's where the show is. It's where they put the glitz and the glam on, and it's a different experience, and it's definitely worth seeing it firsthand.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Is there anything in particular that you're looking forward to seeing? Have you done a deep dive on the agenda yet?
So I've looked at it a couple times. I haven't looked at it recently. There were some things on there that definitely excited me that I'm really looking forward to sitting in on and learning what I can. I think I saw Dick is back, Dick Fisher, right? Is he coming back?
Yes.
Love Dick Fisher. Can't wait to catch up with him.
He's a fan favorite. I'm like, how are you still coming out here? Like,
that man's a celebrity in the transportation industry. And I hope maybe one day if I get to be that old and I'm still in transportation, I can be a celebrity like Dick.
Honestly, it's goals for everyone.
Right.
Yeah, he's doing his accident investigation class. I think that's the one that you sat in Indy too, right?
No, I don't think I did that one.
Okay.
No. But yeah, I definitely want to sit on that one this year. I'm looking forward. That was definitely one of the ones I wanted to.
Yeah. He puts on a great presentation. It's a half day, but he makes it, go by so fast. So not boring at all. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing him again. And a bunch of other people I've met too that I know they're going to be there. So I'm excited for it. It's nice as you get the opportunity to go to some of them and how you get to reconnect with these people and see, what's going on, what's new, what's different, and keep seeing where we're all at.
Yep. Just networking, touching base. Yep. We got the magic theme kind of going throughout the conference this year. So it's going to be a magical time.
Anytime Tony's involved is magical.
No, it truly is. The events team and him and Ryan, they put on a great show for everyone. So I'm really looking forward to seeing you in Reno. And thanks so much for jumping on the podcast.
Oh, no problem. Thank you for having me.
A special thanks to my co-host, Miss Taylor Ekbatani. TNT was back this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the banter back and forth. We had a lot of fun. Special thanks to Chris Faust for jumping on as well. Really appreciate you joining the episode, sharing your insights, and talking with Taylor. We also appreciate our sponsors, TransFinder, Ride, and School Radio. Make sure, guys, you tell them you heard about them on the STN podcast and how much you enjoyed this episode. We always love our sponsors, and we appreciate it if you love on them too. Make sure and visit stnonline.com for our latest news and analysis on the school transportation industry. And don't forget, guys, STN EXPO West out in Reno. Lock it in. Come out, visit us. Go to stnexpo.com/west for details. See the agenda, networking events, keynotes, everything we got. Green Bus Summit, Bus Technology Summit, Transportation Director Summit, the list of opportunities to enhance your career, benefit you, elevate yourself. is all there waiting for you in Reno. Guys, subscribe to the podcast on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you listen to Pods Nation. We love you. We'll see you next week out in Reno, Nevada.